The Boone Murders, the dark secrets of Michelle Paterson and Cole Archwood Boone, Lower, nestled in the heart of the Midwest, was known for its friendly, tight-knit community. Families had lived there for generations, and everyone knew everyone. It was the kind of place where people prided themselves on traditional values, hard work, and a respect for their neighbors. But in the mid-2000s, Boone became infamous for a series of grisly murders that shook the town to its core. At the center of this horror were two unlikely killers, Michelle Paterson and Cole Archwood. Seemingly normal couple with a dark secret. Michelle Paterson was 32 years old, a successful real estate agent who worked for a well-known agency in Boone. She was professional, polite, and always maintained an air of detachment with her clients. She and Cole had moved to Boone 5 years earlier, and while they weren't close with their neighbors, they were always respectful and kept to themselves. Cole Archwood, 34, worked for a manufacturing company just outside of town. He was quiet, methodical, and rarely spoke about his personal life. Together, they seemed like an ordinary couple, albeit a bit aloof. But there was something about them that people couldn't quite put their finger on. Something unsettling that lay just beneath the surface. A twisted celebration of childish indulgence and superficiality. They despised the costumes, the decorations, and especially the trick-or-treaters that flooded their neighborhood every year. It wasn't long before their disdain for Halloween evolved into something much darker, a deadly obsession that would result in the deaths of 6 people, each in a more horrifying way than the last. The beginning of a killing spree. The murders started in October 2011, right before Halloween. The couple had been living in Boone for years, blending into the background, unnoticed by their neighbors. But something had snapped in them. They had grown tired of the facade, tired of pretending to fit in. That Halloween, they decided to turn their hatred into action. Their first victim was Dylan Carter, a 17-year-old high school student who lived just a few blocks away. Dylan loved Halloween. He spent weeks planning his costume, always striving for the perfect blend of creativity and authenticity. That year, he had dressed as a knight, complete with a faux chainmail suit and a long flowing cape. On the night of October 30th, Dylan went to a local Halloween party. As he walked home, he passed by Michelle and Cole's house. The couple had never participated in Halloween activities before, never handed out candy or put up decorations. But that night, they had left their porch light on, a subtle invitation. As Dylan approached, Michelle appeared at the door, waving him over with a smile. She told him they had candy left over and invited him inside. Dylan hesitated at first. He didn't know them well, but Michelle's warm demeanor put him at ease. Once inside, Cole appeared from the shadows, his hulking figure towering over Dylan. Without warning, the couple attacked. They overpowered Dylan, dragging him to the ground. Using the long cape from his costume, they wrapped it tightly around his neck, strangling him as he fought for his life. The last thing Dylan saw was the cold, emotionless faces of Michelle and Cole staring down at him as they squeezed the life from his body. When the police found Dylan's body the next morning, they initially assumed it was a tragic accident, a prank gone wrong, but the truth was far more sinister. The second victim, an unexpected guest. The murder of Dylan Carter went unsolved, and the couple felt emboldened. The thrill of killing had awakened something inside them, a hunger for control and dominance. They wanted more. Their next victim was Elaine Jennings, a local woman in her mid-40s who was well-liked in the community. Elaine was the type of person who always went out of her way to be kind to others, even to people she didn't know well, like Michelle and Cole. She often walked her dog near their house and would wave politely if she saw them outside. On November 5th, just days after Halloween, Michelle ran into Elaine at the grocery store. They exchanged pleasantries, and Michelle invited Elaine over for dinner, a rare gesture from the usually reclusive couple. Elaine, always eager to make new friends, accepted. That night, Elaine arrived at their home, expecting a quiet evening with food and conversation. What she didn't know was that Michelle and Cole had no intention of letting her leave. As they sat at the table chatting about life in Boone, Michelle slipped something into Elaine's wine. It wasn't long before Elaine became groggy and disoriented. They waited until she was barely conscious before Cole pulled her from her chair, dragging her limp body down into their basement. There, they used a set of heavy-duty restraints chains and handcuffs to tie her to a large metal beam in the center of the room. Michelle stood by, watching with an eerie sense of satisfaction as Cole methodically prepared for the kill. Elaine woke up just as they were about to begin. Her eyes widened in terror as she realized what was happening, but it was too late. Using a combination of blunt force trauma and suffocation, they killed her slowly, relishing every second of her suffering. When they were done, they disposed of her body in a remote wooded area outside of town, confident that no one would ever find her. Elaine's disappearance made headlines in Boone. Search parties were organized and the entire town was on edge. But no one suspected Michelle and Cole. They had perfected their act, blending in as the quiet, respectful couple who kept to themselves. The double murder Halloween night. As Halloween approached again in 2012, Michelle and Cole were ready for their next kill. This time, they decided to target a couple. They had their eyes on Tom and Wendy Miller, a young married couple who had recently moved to Boone. The Millers were the type of people who loved the community events, especially Halloween. They decorated their house extravagantly every year, and they always dressed up in elaborate costumes. On the night of October 31st, Michelle and Cole invited the Millers over for drinks under the guise of getting to know their new neighbors. Tom and Wendy, eager to make friends, accepted the invitation. Once inside, the Millers had no idea they were walking into a trap. Michelle and Cole had prepared their home for the kill, hiding weapons and restraints in strategic places. As they sat in the living room, chatting about the upcoming Halloween festivities, Cole excused himself to get more drinks. Moments later, he returned, holding a large metal bat. Before the Millers could react, Cole swung the bat with full force, striking Tom in the head. He crumpled to the ground unconscious. Wendy screamed, but Michelle was ready. She grabbed a rope from behind the couch and quickly looped it around Wendy's neck, pulling it tight as Cole finished off Tom with another blow to the head. Wendy fought desperately, but Michelle held on, strangling her with cold determination. In minutes, both were dead, their bodies lying lifeless in the living room. The couple quickly cleaned up the scene and disposed of the bodies in a nearby river, confident that no one would connect them to the murders. The final kill. A pattern emerges. By now, the murders had become a game to Michelle and Cole. They reveled in the power they held over their victims, and they believed they were untouchable. But their final kill would be their undoing. Their last victim was Aaron Walker, a 19-year-old college student who had returned to Boone for the holidays. Aaron had been away at school and hadn't heard about the disappearances that had rocked the town. He was staying with his parents, who lived just a few houses down from Michelle and Cole. On the night of November 10, 2012, Aaron went for a walk around the neighborhood. He had heard stories about the creepy couple who lived nearby, but dismissed them as small-town gossip. As he passed by their house, Michelle appeared at the door, waving him over with a friendly smile. She told him she needed help moving something heavy and that Cole wasn't home. Aaron, always willing to lend a hand, agreed to help. Once inside, Michelle led him to the basement where Cole was waiting in the shadows. Before Aaron could react, they attacked him, restraining him to a metal chair. This time, they didn't kill him quickly. They wanted to savor the moment. For hours, they tortured Aaron, breaking his spirit before finally ending his life with a swift, brutal stab to the chest. But they had made a mistake. Aaron had told his parents where he was going before he left. When he didn't return, they called the police. A search of Michelle and Cole's house revealed the grim truth, evidence of the murders they had committed over the past year. Michelle and Cole were arrested and later convicted of 6 counts of murder. The quiet couple who had kept to themselves for years had finally been unmasked as cold-blooded killers. Even now, the town of Boone still grapples with the horror of what Michelle Paterson and Cole Archwood did. Their story serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones who hide in plain sight, living ordinary lives until the darkness inside them finally breaks free.